Greetings, Israel, Judah. It's your brother DFG. Hey, my brothers and sisters. I want to get right on into this message. I know it's been a couple of days since I've shared with you things that Abba Yah has placed upon my heart. Today is another day. Over the last few days, I've been instructed by him. I was instructed by him to just quiet down, just to be quiet, reflect, meditate, and allow things to manifest. And I hope you're doing the same. I hope that you're listening to Abba Yah's voice. I hope that you're keeping your ruach in alignment with his truth. But at the same time, understanding that, this is not the time, brothers and sisters, for us to lose focus. And if you're doing what I said, then of course you're not losing focus. But we're at a challenging time right now. And many of our brothers and sisters, truth be told, I'm talking about those professing to be 1/3 of Israel. Talking about some of you, possibly. The focus is adrift. Many things have come in as distractions. Satan, in some cases, has came in, with his clever thoughts of influence and persuasion, creating, I guess what I would have to call a vacuum or creating some type of incubus, if you don't know what an incubus is. It's just it's a demonic spirit. It's a sorcerer's spirit, typically a female spirit. And what it does, it draws people in through magic and sorcery. In other words, it disguises itself as something very, very enticing. If you remember the mythology movies of way back, if you're 50 and older, you may know what I'm talking about. But there were these Hercules kind of movies that would come on Saturday afternoons. And they would have different methodical, gods. Truth hidden in plain sight, I might add. And there was this one god, her name was called Methuselah. And she had like a head that looked like dreads. Like she had little dreadlocks in her head. But they were really snakes. And what she would do is she'd be inside of a cave. And a lot of times when the hero or Hercules, whenever, in this case, it would have been the redeemer of the people, would go into that cave, they would go in that cave with their swords drawn to fight her. And when they fought against her, they had to not look in her eyes, because if they looked into her eyes, they would turn into stone. In other words, their hearts would become hardened. Interestingly enough, that spirit is still here, never went anywhere. That was art imitating life. And right now, Yah is telling me to be very careful of who it is that we allow to come into our circles, because everyone that comes in are not here as a friend. As a matter of fact, our book goes so far as to warn us that and is a blessing to us. As our blessing, our enemies will come in one way, and Abba Yahuwah, our Father, our Creator, Yahuwah, will run them off 7 ways. And that's a blessing. And what does that mean? Many will come to us, brothers and sisters, if your heart is right, if you're honest, and you're walking in integrity before Yah. I'm not talking about a perfect human being, so don't get this twisted. But I'm talking about a perfect heart for Yahuwah, where you can hear his voice. You keep his commandments. At least you strive to do it with all your heart, all your mind, all your strength, as we are instructed to do in Deuteronomy, in our Torah, chapter 6. If that's your action and that's your behavior, then remember, part of the blessing is when your enemies come in one way, what did he say? He's going to scatter them 7 ways. So when they come, don't be surprised. And when they run, when he scatters them, don't worry about let the door hit them where Yah split them. Say it that way. Just let the door hit them right where Yahuwah split them. And I think you know what I mean by that. And remember, when they run or they scatter, they leave 7 ways. That is a blessing, brothers and sisters. That is your blessing. Sometimes, we can get caught up, myself included. I'm no exception. when we start to get attachment, make certain, allegiances, alignments, right? Yeah, allegiance. And we think those allegiances are from Yah. But sometimes they are not. Regardless of our action or interaction with them. Doesn't matter if we were, of service in any way to them. That does not make them allies, brothers and sisters. We saw that with King David. You remember when he fought Goliath? Saul wanted to give him his equipment. Saul wanted to give him everything he needed. I'm with you, young man. But as soon as Saul was in a position where he was no longer feeling threatened by his enemy, Goliath, the Philistines, he conveniently wanted to attack the same person who had come to serve, and a person that, by Saul's own words, was worthy of being a part of his family. So when our book says, the blessings of Yahuwah make it a man rich and add no sorrow with it, brothers and sisters, understand that the promises are the promises, the blessings are the blessings, and sometimes they don't look like, in the beginning, they look like a curse, but in the end, they're blessings. We read many, many times where the enemy meant it for harm, but what this tells us. Then what did Jacob tell Joseph at his day? Say, Joseph, don't hold, this mischief that your brothers, did towards you, many, many years ago. He said their intents were evil. He said they had evil intentions, no question about it. He said, but Yah, it was Yahuwah's doing, and Yah had a greater plan. He was going to use their evil to the saving of our people. So don't hold them charged to it, is what he told him. Because Jacob understood there are times that things will look bad to us, brothers and sisters, but it's really a blessing to us. So remember that. In addition, if you guys recall, I mentioned about 2 months ago, this is still in this same arena of thought, revelation, that we will be attacked. If you didn't follow this channel, I told you that. I told you, get ready, attacks are coming. And I know some of you are like, okay, brother DFG, we with you, we got you, you right. Oh yeah, we listening. And then the attacks came. And sometimes we're so busy thinking that it's our enemy that was going to bring the attack. We forget that there are enemies as well inside of me's. In other words, enemies inside of the camp. Frenemies, I think that's the word that the world used, frenemies. David talked about that in Psalm 55. He said, what? Their words were smooth as butter. But he said they had war in their hearts. Now, hopefully you have your sword and hammer. But we can look at that. We're going to be studying today in the book of Jeremiah because that's where we're headed, brothers and sisters. But I think this dialogue is important because it's to remind that Yah's word is true. Deuteronomy 32 says that if a messenger of Yah says something is going to come to pass and it doesn't come to pass, you count him or her as a lying messenger, predominantly him. A couple of months ago, Yah shared with me to share with us that we would be under attack for this truth. And when it happened, we were not to be surprised, and more importantly, we were not to run. Stand your ground, because he's with us. And although they come in one way, he would run them all 7 ways. So I will say this to you, brothers and sisters. If you're not under attack, give it a moment. If you are under attack, stay in the moment. In other words, don't overreact. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for a reaction. See, wickedness needs to be cultivated. In other words, wickedness, go and find others to help them justify their wickedness. So hold your ground. Tell them thanks, but no thanks. I'm not interested. I'm not here for folly. I'm here for the truth. That's what you tell them. But let's look at a couple of places. And again, when Yah gave that message to me, brothers and sisters, a while back to warn Israel, the 1/3 of us, that we were going to be under attack, He meant it. And if we have no other assurity right now, if you have no other assurity right now, but you have been under attack, if nothing else, at least you know that what the brother is saying is what the brother is saying. And what he is saying is what Yah is placing in his mouth to say as it relates to the things of the book. This book. No hidden agendas here. A lot of transparency, truth, sometimes hardcore truth. Many can't handle that truth. But again, not up for me to decide. As a watchman of Abba Yah, I am told to bring forth a warning. Whatever you do, and I want to emphasize it, it's totally up to you. You know, I had a young brother, I'm assuming it was a brother, he was saying, well, you're saying this about this one and not about that one. Well, my young brother, respectfully, our book tells us open rebuke is better than secret love. Open rebuke means you say it out loud and you call it out as you see it. But at the same time, I will not, have not, and cannot judge anybody. The word judges. Yah's truth judges. Again, my responsibility is to warn you. Your decision is to take heed to that warning or not take heed to that warning. Now that's how we level set right here. That's it. So if you're confused or were confused or needed a little clarity, I just clarified. I don't have anywhere to lead anybody other than towards Yah's truth and his promise. And with actions that I'm taking and like-minded brothers and sisters are taking to come out from this wickedness, those are personal conscious decisions that we're making. Some to do it together, others to do it apart. But we're doing it. So coming out, whether you're with a group that comes out together with some of us, or you going out your own way, just please understand, those are your decisions. Each and every individual is your decision. But I would warn you, have a plan. I would also warn you to understand that there will be people amongst you. That's where we're going. All right? Psalms, come on, let's go over here. Book of Psalms, 155. And there will be people who are among you. And this is why that warning came a couple of months ago. To say that they're going to start off as your friends and they're going to find a way to make you their enemy. And you're going to have to be okay with that. It's not going to feel good. It never feels good. But give it time. Yah has a plan. If Yah removes them away, then that means they weren't to stay. And again, he said 7 ways he would scatter them. But look what David had to say about something that I want to remind my brothers and sisters of. Psalms 55. Verse 21. He said, the words of their mouth were smoother than butter. That means they're going to be flattering. They're going to make comments like, Yah sent me to you. Yah sent me to the channel. Yah gave me this job. Yah, made you my sister. Yah made you my brother. Yah gave me a mother I didn't have. Yah gave me a daughter. They're going to say all kinds of things. Smooth words, enticing words. But look what Yah said. Their words were smoother than butter, but war was in their heart. Not that they came to harm you. They already had it in them. And like any contagion, they come to contaminate you. You could be any of us. Because see, they never repented themselves. They were looking for a place to go. They were channel surfing, and they saw, a particular channel, or they may have heard something someone was saying, and it caught their ear. And depending on what was in them, they decided to hang around until they didn't want to hang around anymore. Because although that message was a different message they were hearing, that stone of heart that you heard me talk about a moment ago, from that dreadlocked woman, Methuselah, who had a history of debt behind her. There were bodies all around her. People just didn't notice the bodies. What I mean by bodies, damage done. Agents of chaos is what we call them. Wherever they go, problem is soon to follow. But a lot of men went in there. They're looking at her beauty. They looked at her attraction. Her ability to entice, to persuade with her smooth words. Her many faces. And they got caught. They got caught in her web. Her web of chaos, for lack of a better word. And now the battle is lost. And that's why the warning came to us, brothers and sisters, months ago. Be careful. Be careful. Don't get caught up, in flattery. Don't get caught up when people talk. Watch what they do. Doesn't matter what they say. Look at what they're doing. Look at what they have done. Ask yourself, why have they come? Why are you here? And that's a fair question. Well, I'm searching for Yah. Well, we'll find out. But as they searching for Yah, because that's what they're going to say, they coming in, as a friend. What did David say? But war was in their hearts. Hatred, bitterness, envy, strife, confusion, division, divisiveness, cleverness, compromised, or compromisers. And then he went on to say their words were soft words. Softer than all. Really, really soft words. Innocence. I'm helpless. I don't have no problem. I'm just looking for direction. But they had swords behind their backs. Let's come over to Deuteronomy. Chapter 28. Verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if you shall hearken diligently to the words of Yahuwah, to guard and do all of his commandments, which I command you this day, says Yahuwah, that Yahuwah will set you high above all the nations of the earth. In other words, you ain't going to be struggling. You're not going to be helpless. You're not going to be pitiful. Your life will have structure. Your life will make sense. Your life will have a solid foundation under it. And the blessings, and these blessings will come upon you, and they will overtake you. He's saying that your life would have such a blessing that it's going to overflow, like David said in Psalm 23, that his cup runneth over. Remember, he said, Abba Yahuwah prepared a table for me in the presence of my enemies. And he said, what? And my cup runneth over. When the book says, Yahuwah's blessing, making a man rich and add no sorrows with it, that's what he's saying. Overflow. It's going to be really clear that you're blessed. Blessed in your body, blessed in your mind, and strong in y'all's truth and obedience. You're never going to fight. Y'all's people don't fight against his commandments. They obey them. They don't look for loopholes. They don't adjust them based off of, the times. They know that Yah said his word never changes. that he never changes. No, when they love Yah with all their heart, all their mind, and all their strength, as we're instructed to do, come on. I hope you're writing this down. Again, we teach over here. Go find Geno Jennings if you want somebody just to tell you stuff and be right about it. Because he says so. But over here we says this. This over here is what we teach. And we teach it from Yah's Torah. So brother, again, I'm not asking, I'm glad you're here, first of all. If you're still here, you're still listening, I am glad you're here. But I want you to follow along with your brother as we follow the word, okay? So if there's any following, let's follow those who are following Yahuwah. And we're only going to follow them as they follow his word. Okay, so you're welcome to be here. I'm glad you're here. And if there's any fellowship going on, like leadership, I'm going to use the word for leadership. I'm going to say the word fellowship. So if you hear me say fellowship, brothers and sisters, I'm just saying leadership in Yahuwah word. So if there's any fellowship going on here, then we do it by his word. We follow his Torah, Yahuwah's Torah. Okay? But look what it says here. And these words I command you. This is Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 6. And these words which I command you this day to be in your heart. The words should be in our hearts, brothers and sisters, in our minds. Not outside of us where we're weighing it and deciding what applies and what doesn't apply. What I'm comfortable doing, what I'm not comfortable doing. That's not in your heart. When you start questioning Yah's word, the one thing you can be certain of, brothers and sisters, is not in your heart. You start questioning men's word, then you should be. That's called wisdom. Discernment. Judgment. Again, wisdom. But when it comes down to Yahuwah's word, when you start questioning his word, that means it's not in your heart. And let me read this to you again. Deuteronomy 6 and 6. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them unto your children, and you shall talk of them when you sit down in the house. Talk about what? These words, Yah's words, his Torah, his Tanakh, his Apocrypha books. And you shall bind, he said, you should teach them when you lie down and when you get up. That means all the day. Now, a lot of these people, these so-called friends, lovers of Yahuwah, these studying, doing their own version of the truth. The question I would present to any of them, are you studying morning, noon, and night? Of course, many are going to say, well, I'm too busy to do that. All right, then that's your answer. You're too busy to do it. I accept your answer. Now, does Yahuwah accept your answer? So your problem now with DFG, and I want to make that clear. You're attacking your brother, those who are, not everyone, those who are. You think you're attacking me, you're attacking Yah. In these last days, evil days that we're in, if I could give you some advice, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it. That's my advice. I'm not telling you what to do. I personally would advise you not to do that. But I'm sure that if Yah says that when you get up in the morning, you should have him on your mind. When you go to bed at night, you should have him on your mind, which means morning, noon, and night. Not just in the morning before you go to bed. I'm sure if he said that, he means it. And I'm sure that, if we get too busy being busy with whatever we're busy about, I suspect that Yah has a particular feeling about that may not necessarily be agreeable to what you or we may think. Because he said this to our people. Our people were not sluggards. They were not laying around. I'm sure they were working. I'm sure they were raising their families. I'm sure they were fighting on the battlefields. I'm sure they were doing everything that the book tells us that they were doing. Yet Yah did not create a loophole or a clause that said, with the exception, the exemption, there's an exemption for you, that you in particular, because you're so busy, you don't have to have time to do it. I don't think he did that, and I think if he intended that, I'm sure it would be written right inside of his word, where all his truth exists. But again, my job is to warn you, to bring it to your attention. But at the end of the day, it is totally up to you what you decide to do with it. That information, that insight. The one of the reason we have Bible studies every Wednesday night, 7 p.m., is to continue to be in the Word so we can find the time to study the Word together. At least to hear the Word. Open up your book. Open up your Tanakh. Open up your Torah. Open up the Apocryphal books. That's why we come together. For no other reason. We don't solicit anything from anybody. As a matter of fact, we ask you to put your phone on mute and just follow along with your hammer and saw so you can write down notes. So when the study is over, you can go behind us and check. And if you have questions, we even have an email address that you can ask your questions. And we actually respond to those questions. Now, does that sound like someone that's trying to manipulate you or control you or tell you what to do? Does that sound like someone is telling you they're the only one that's in the truth? And just in case it does, let me restate this to you. No, I'm not trying to lead you anywhere. I'm busy leading me and those who are under my covering, because they understand the importance that a covering is there as a part of Abba Yah's redemption plan for them. So that's who I'm leading. Them and me and them. If I can say that wrong. That's not proper grammar, but who gives a shit about the heathen's grammar? Goes on to say, still in Deuteronomy, and you shall bind them, what he's talking about, his commandments, as you teaching them. You shall write them upon the post of your house, that's all over your house, and on your gates, outside and inside. And it shall be, when Yahuwah shall have brought you into the land which he swore to your father. This is when he's going to bless you. And your houses shall be full of good things, which you didn't put there. Water, wells dug that you didn't dig. Vineyards and olive trees, prosperity that wasn't because of your investments. Because he said you didn't plant them. And you shall have eaten, and you shall have eaten, and you will be full. Overflow. As we just read in Deuteronomy 28 with its blessings. But then there's a warning in verse 14. Verse 12. He says this, but beware lest you forget Yahuwah, which brought you forth from the land of bondage. And that's what's happening, brothers and sisters. Many come, few are chosen. That's why he said it's going to be 1/3. That's why he said, they're going to come in one way and y'all going to send them out 7 ways. Why? Because their heart is not full of Yah's word. Their heart is full of contention. They never repented. And just like Satan showed up everywhere we were, talking about the righteous of Abayu, Yeah, Satan's in them still come around. So just because they're with you, brothers and sisters, and this is what he was wanting me to warn us 2 months ago. Just because they're saying, I believe, and I love Yahuwah, I just want to learn. I'm going to learn. I'm going to do better. Just because they're saying all those things, that don't mean, brothers and sisters, that's in their heart. That's just coming out of their mouth. That's what David meant when he said they have smooth words. Pastor this, elder that, father this, mother that. They know what words to say because their father, Satan, goes around checking on them day and night, fellowshipping with them day and night because their thoughts are always predicated on wickedness, selfishness, and they conversate. And in their conversation, he gives them what would be called subtlety. Look the word up, subtle. I think I want to say it's spelled S-U-B-T-I-L-E. So it's not like subtle when somebody coming on you subtle. No, this is wickedly wise, subtle. You'll see it in the book of Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. How Satan was the most subtle of all the creatures that Yah created. In other words, he was clever. Smooth words. Silky smooth. Soft words. Like a pillow. But deadly words. Because his words were there to cause division. To disturb Israel. At least to disturb the truth of Israel. And in many cases, unfortunately, inside of Israel, he's succeeding because no one wants to talk about this. I'm talking about those who are watchmen of Yah. They don't want to talk about this because I'm going to tell you what the primary fear, here's the fear for many of them, is that they feel if they say the truth, they're going to lose something from those people who were supporting them in some kind of way. They could have been just part of a head count, just numbers inside of their church membership. They didn't want their membership to fall off. They could be study groups, and they were afraid that people would not come to the study or what have you. They could have been people who maybe were giving offerings and donations, and they knew that if they said the wrong thing, those people would stop giving. So they allowed themselves to be compromised by just saying, let me use soft words now. And brothers and sisters, for those of you, let me say this, who are put in positions of again, leadership with the word of Yah, you should never, ever, ever be afraid of someone not giving something to you. I'm going to say that again. You should never be afraid of that. Put your trust in Yahuwah. And that's exactly what your brother is doing. Because you know what I do realize? That the heart is right, they're going to do it because of the righteousness of their heart. But if their heart is incentivized based off of what that would satisfy them, then they're doing it for their own self-edification. They're doing it for control. And I will tell you, I consider it filthy money. To this moment, I say it's filthy money. And I'll say this publicly to you. Anyone who gives to this channel, if you're giving to this channel because you're trying to manipulate, you take that money and you can stick that money, that old saying, stick it up where the sun don't shine. I think you know what I'm talking about. You can stick it up there. I'm not here for you for that. We're here for the truth. We're in the last days. Nobody has time to play, manipulating games. So beware of clever people. Again, They praise Yah with their hearts, with their mouths, but inside of them, they're wolves. They don't come to unite. They don't come for edification. They don't come to learn. They come to destroy. And you best believe, when they start their destruction, the only one who won't be a problem in their mind is them. Everybody else is the problem. And again, as y'all told me to warn you, brothers and sisters, 2 months ago, they were coming. No, look around. In the words of the wicked devil, Geno Jennings, was I right about it? Yeah. They even came over here where your brother is. But it's okay. Hey, like I said before, you found me here. And when you go, I'm still going to be here. Yah called me to this purpose. Not you, not them, not anyone. I'm here for Yah's will. And I'm going to be here. When there were 5 people listening to this channel, views, I was here. And it could be 1 million listening to this channel. And I'm still going to be here. Then it can go right back down to 5 again. And guess what? Yah willing, I'm still going to be here. Because I trust Yah's word when he say no weapon formed against me is going to prosper. And every tongue that attacks me, Yah is going to curse. I know that is true. I trust his word. Unlike many of them. They trust their father, the Satans. And yes, Satan to give them a little influence, give them some sympathy, some pity. But in the long run, Satan's always going to do what's in his nature to do. And like old Mr. T used to say, I pity the fool who are letting them little devils come in and persuade you to listen to them when Yah had already told you what way to go to hear the truth. Because if you came here, unless it's some demon sent you here, then who sent you here? And why would you let anybody distract you? Including me. I'm staying in the word, so I'm not your distraction. But see, when people make things personal, then all of a sudden, everything is personal. So when you come in selfish people, for a selfish person, everything is personal. But see, the righteous, they understand that you don't let things get personal because you agree or disagree with something. You stay the course. That's called loyalty. That is called loyalty. You hang in there. The word is loyalty. And when you run in signs of trouble, disagreement, that's a lack of loyalty. Just for informational purposes. Maybe some of you didn't know. Maybe you thought loyalty was people who agree with what you agree with. That's not loyalty. That's camaraderie. 2 different words. Solomon warned us that could be a way that would seem right to a man, but what? The end of that way was the ways of death. You can have camaraderie with people, and they can lead you into serious trouble. They can lead you away from Yah. So don't confuse camaraderie with loyalty. 2 different words. Over here, it's about loyalty. Not interested in camaraderie. Now, if camaraderie finds itself inside of that loyalty, so be it. But with it there for other reasons, Yah will expose it, and then they'll go away, and that is perfectly okay. We're going to still be here. We'll still be on Wednesday nights. But the few who are, Israelites who want to have more of a personal interaction, we have our Zoom calls on Friday nights. That's going to go on, Yah willing. And then the messenger will continue to bring message till Yah shut me down. Those are certainties. As Yah allow me to manage those things. Because I will. See, I'm accountable. I do what I'm saying I'm going to do to the best of my ability. And for a chance I don't understand the word repentance. And then I get up and then I start again doing what I committed myself to do. Because I'm loyal like that. Deuteronomy chapter 28:3. We're still in the blessings. I'm going somewhere, and then we're going to get over into Jeremiah. It said, blessed shall you be in the city. This is when you keep Abba Yah's commandments. When you're not fighting, when they're in your heart. Not what you think about or what you're deciding about, but when they're in your heart. They become a part of your daily life. Including honor. The word honor, H-O-N-E-R, including honor. Honor is another word for being loyal. Honor your elders. Honor your mother and father. Be loyal to those who Abba Yah has put over you. Honor, loyalty. You train up the children. You don't bring honor to the children. You're supposed to be a role model for the children and one who will chastise the child if they need correction. That's in the book too. Spare the rod of the word, or any chastisement, right? So you spoil that rod. He said, you spare the rod, you spoil that child. And he's not just talking about infants. It's talking about adults who think like children as well. The rod of the word is for their chastisement. And guess what? That's okay. And if you happen to get chastised, guess what? It ought to be okay with you because the word says what? Who Yah loves, he chastises like a father chastises a son. Chastise, strengthen your resolve. Chastisement. But if your purpose is to manipulate, then you don't want to be chastised. You just want to be right. So beware of those individuals, brothers and sisters. We have to see them. We have to reveal them as they are. Pull back the curtain. Let them see that you see them. So that Yah runs them away and you understand why. So you don't start trying to block the door of their escape. No, let them go. Let's go on here because they're not a blessing to you. Let them go. Let them go. I know you might think you need them and all that, but I'm talking about for those of you who are in position of leadership, as I mentioned earlier, and there are certain things that are important to you in regards to, the farthing of Yah's work. I'll say it that way. But don't worry about that. Yah will bring in something much better than what you lost. Don't worry about that. That's never, ever, ever, ever sell out for materialism. Don't do it. I'm telling you, you're going to regret it. If they don't do it out of the integrity of their heart, tell them to keep it. Or let them keep it. Don't ask them for it. Better say it. Verse 4. He said, blessed shall you be in the fruit of your body. You'll be healthy when you're obeying Yahweh's commandments. We talked about that on the Zoom call the other night. It's not Yah's will for us to be sick. Sickness is not a blessing. That's Christianity in that craziness over there talking about suffer peacefully. All suffering is good and all that craziness. That's not what the Torah says. Suffering for Christ, like he suffered for you. That's Paul foolishness. I might be weak in my body, but I'm strong in my spirit. If he was truly that strong in his relationship with Yah, he would have been strengthened in his body. Otherwise, Yah's word would be lying. That's not what the book said. Your body's going to be strong and healthy if you're blessed. So who and what was that, or who wrote that over there? Well, to get our people comfortable with being sick, get our people comfortable with eating unclean foods by telling our people what? Or you can eat anything you want, y'all gonna bless it. Everything was made by y'all is good for food. Yeah, if it was placed on this planet to eat. You ever heard of poisonous plants? They were placed on this earth too, but not for you to eat it. Don't you know that's poisonous food to your body that was placed on this earth that you're not supposed to eat? It was never supposed to be food unto us, like a pig, a crab, a crawfish, a catfish, a buzzard, a vulture. They eat dead things. They were placed on this earth to keep the earth clean, not for food. But because the heathens, through their New Testament, came up with a better commandment, lies. And what they tell you? It was okay for you to eat garbage. And now many of our brothers and sisters are sick. And now they're telling you, well, it's okay to suffer. Paul suffered. Peter died upside down on the cross. He suffered. What about all those who were martyred? They all suffer for Christ. Well, I guess they were all cursed by Christ then. Maybe Christ is the curse. Starts with a C. 5 letters. Curse, Christ. Christ, curse. The curse of Christ. Think about it. But Yah said our bodies were to be blessed. Blessed in our bodies. And then he said that we were to increase. In flock, sheep, goat, cows, bulls. He said that we all should be able to have food and other survival things stored away. That's when he said, blessed will be your basket and your storehouse. You remember how Joseph, when in the time of famine, he put food, right? Preservation, things that we were going to need. When the 7 years of famine came, he stored them where? In his storehouse. What's in your storehouse? Because surely if you're blessed and you're keeping Yah's commandments, you should have a storehouse and there should be things stored away. Then he goes on verse 6, Deuteronomy 28:6. He said, and blessed shall you be when you come in, and blessed shall you be when you go out. Now don't take a genius to figure out what he's talking about. That means coming and going. Wherever you are, blessings should be around you. Blessings should be around you, and you ought to be able to at any minute be a blessing to others. Because blessings are around you, and your blessings should be overflowing from you. That's not what David said. That's not what we just read in Deuteronomy chapter 6. He said an abundance, bountiful, plenty, more than you need. Look at verse 7. It's where we kind of began. Yahuwah. Now remember that, brothers and sisters. So when people run off and people come, remember, don't take it personal. Try not to take it personal. I know it's hard. Don't take it personal. Because Yahuwah is in charge of this. And trust me, you want him to be in charge of it. You don't want to be in charge of who's coming and who's going. Trust me, because you're human. And because you're human, you are subject to be in error. If they coming, let Yahuwah send them. Anybody that comes to this channel, if Yahuwah didn't send you, good to see you. Take care. But if Yahuwah sent you, welcome. Have a seat. Stay a while. If Yahuwah sent you. Otherwise, again, hello. Good to see you again. Take care of yourself. Be safe. Just like that. Come on, let's go a little bit farther. And I don't think we're going to be visiting Jeremiah. So let me say that to you right now. This is the message for today. You getting it as Yah sending it to me. I guess it was Deuteronomy 28, the blessings and the warnings, to make sure that we all understand what's happening around us so we can make the best decision. But look what he says again. Let's go back to 7. And Yahuwah shall cause your enemies that rise up against you. So that means we can be blessed and people can attack us. And that's important to know. Very important to know. Sister, you can be blessed and get attacked. Brother, you can be blessed and still get attacked or be being attacked by enemies. And remember what David said. All of them are not inside. As a matter of fact, before I go any further, let's go back to the book of Psalms, because there's something there in that next verse that I want all of us to be reminded of. We all know about the smooth words and the soft words, but sometimes we don't read a little bit farther. And if you drop down just one more verse, check this out, my brothers and sisters. As a matter of fact, let's go up to verse, let's do it this way. Let's go to, when Psalm 55, stay with me. It says here, I'm going to start at verse 9. Then we're going to read all the way down, to get back to 21. It says, destroy, O my Father, and divide their tongues. He said, divide their tongues, give them a double tongue. Backbiters, talking behind others' backs. He said, if I have seen violence and strife in the city. Say, day and night they go about upon the walls thereof to do mischief, and sorrow are in the midst of them. They love confusion. They love it. That's how you know, brothers and sisters, they're not of Yah. Because Yah is not the author of confusion. As a matter of fact, Yah tells us, as Amos said, how can two walk together except they agree? I want to say that's Amos 3 and 11. Check it out. 11, wickedness is in the midst thereof, and deceit and deception. That's what guile means. Guile is deception. Speaking evil words. Bitterness. Hatefulness. Divisiveness. Envy. Guile does not depart from her streets. For it was not an enemy that attacked me. Because I could have bore it. In other words, I could have handled it if it was my enemies. Brothers and sisters, is what I'm saying to you. Just because they with you don't mean they're on your side. Just because they're fellowshipping with us doesn't mean they're with us. Doesn't mean they're on our side. They're looking for camaraderie, not loyalty. They're looking for somewhere to be. And it just so happens we were convenient, or you may be convenient at a particular time. on their path to destruction. Or the path that's leading them to their own destruction, better said. And they'll take and many of us with them that's willing to follow them. They don't love Yah. They love themselves. They see this world as a place they want to be or rather be. They're not thinking that everything here is about to end. They're planning for a future here. They love this earth. They love this world. That's why they're always talking about the future, the future, the future. Although wisdom would tell them what future. Even the heathens saying 2025, 2030 is done. I mean, if you had a baby, a newborn baby today, 2023, by the time that baby reaches age 7, according to the heathens, this world is going to be done. They will have no uses for that child. There'll be no place for that child. There'll be nothing for that child to do. No matter how smart, intelligent, or how educated. They're just not going to need it. That's why they're talking depopulation. And pushing all these depopulation agendas like homosexuality. And abortions and all the rest of them. Including the jabbing. The sterilization of men and women. Through needles. But they love this world. And that's how you know them. But for those of us who are planning our escape, then understand they're going to come and they're going to try to distract us. Try to turn us away from Yah. Try to divide us, turn us away from Yah's truth. And if you're not in the Word and you're not strong in the Word, guess what? You will be compromised. They will make you compromise yourself. They're going to make you sin against Yahuwah. How, brother? By denying His Word? Or by agreeing with them? Or going against Abba Yah's Word by saying His Word doesn't mean what His Word says? You'll think you're right too, by the way. Again, a way that seems right to you, to us, any of us. That's why I stick to the Word. And I'm not sure, I'm going right to the Word. And that's exactly what we all should be doing, brothers and sisters. If you love Yah, as He said, the Word is written in your mind. You love Him with your mind, it means the Word is a part of you. Not apart from you, but actually resides inside of you. And it didn't get there because you got the Holy Ghost. It gets there because of study and obedience. That's why He told them, write it down, write it. If it was all about the Holy Ghost, then why you got to write it down? Why you got to bind it on the doors and why you got to bind it on the post? And these are all these people who claim they believe in the Torah. They're going to tell you you need the Holy Ghost to know Yah's Word. But right here in Deuteronomy chapter 6, or where we were, He says that you meditate on His Word day and night, that you write it down. You paste it all inside your house and around outside of you. That's what it said. That's what it says. But again, they used an addition book called the New Testament to attack Yah's Torah. And when they're attacking this Torah, guess who else they're attacking? Abba Yah's people, the Israelites, us. And unfortunately, 2 out of 3 of us are going along with their lies, thinking that they're right. Sincere, but sincerely wrong. It doesn't have to be that way. But you have to trust in Yah with all your might. Isn't that Proverbs 3 and 5? Lead not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Yahuwah and He will direct your paths. So you don't have to be deceived by the New Testament and their gods and their saviors and their prophets and their apostles. But in order for that not to happen, you have to put your trust, we have to put our trust solely in Yahuwah and in Yahuwah's Torah as he demands that we do it. Inside the word commandment is the word demand. He demands that we do it. Otherwise, we have no fellowship with him. Meaning, he's not blessing you. This world is blessing you. And whatever this world gives you, you can best believe this world eventually is going to take it away. Facts. Look what it says. Back in 55. Verse 11. Verse 12. And it was not an enemy that attacked me. He said, because then I could have handled it. And neither was it he that hated me, that did tell me they loved me. He said, then I would have hid myself from him, because I didn't know that enemy was lying to me. You don't even know me, how you love me. But it was you, a man of my equal, my guide, my acquaintance. We took sweet counsel together. We walked into the house of Elohim together. We studied together. Now he says this, verse 15, he said, let death seize upon them, and let them go down into hell for the wickedness that is in their dwellings and amongst them. He said they dwell in evil. They're always plotting and conniving in the dark, behind the light, in the shadows. He's talking about those who came to him with those smooth words, those soft words. And he said, when they do come to us, brothers and sisters, look at verse 16. He said, and I will call upon Yahuwah, and Yahuwah will save me. Evening and morning and at noon. Is this not the same thing we just read in Deuteronomy chapter 6? Let his word be a light unto us, and when we lie down and when we get up. Now David is clarifying what that means. Morning and noon. Evening, morning, and noon. That means night, morning, and noon. That means all day. I will pray and I will cry aloud. And because I'm doing that, he says this, and he will hear my voice. Now, if I taught honestly to this part, then you ought to thumb this message up, because I've taught honestly. I wasn't clever. I didn't say anything that would cause anybody to donate anything. Matter of fact, I told them to keep it. Especially if they're using it for wickedness, manipulation, control, influence, to make themselves feel better about themselves. I've been honest. I've given you the word, and I've given it to you straight, right from Yah's Torah and his Tanakh. And I've given you precepts, cross references, to go along with what I have shared. Now that's called spiritual integrity. Spiritual integrity. But let's go back to 28, Deuteronomy 28, back to Abba Yah's Torah. And we're going to wrap it up. And by the way, tonight at the Bible study, we're going to be studying in the book of Enoch, and we're going to be talking about Noah, brothers and sisters. We're going to be talking about these last days. So, it's going to be a good lesson tonight. It's going to be teaching. Not saying, ain't going to be no jumping and hollering and, oh, hallelujah. That's going to be just straight up hardcore, rubber meets the road teaching about the times that we're in. And if you don't have your apocryphal book, you're not going to be able to follow with us. If you don't have your cipher, or at least the apocryphal books, because we're going to be studying again in the book of Enoch. Let's get back to the message at hand here. So if you can make it tonight, I invite you to join us. I've already told you the conditions. Verse 7. And Yahuwah shall cause your enemies that rise up against you to be destroyed in before you, right before us. So don't worry about them. When he said vengeance is mine, Isaiah 54:17, No weapon formed against him will prosper. No weapon formed against us will prosper. Vengeance is mine, says Abba Yahuwah. He will repay them for that. Isaiah 59:19. Though the enemy comes in like a flood, Abba Yahweh will lift a standard against that enemy. In other words, he's going to fight on behalf of us, Israel. One will put 1,000 to flight. Psalms 91:2, 10,000 to flight. Though they come in again one way, Yah say, I'm going to run them out 7 ways. Your frenemies. Some call them wolves in sheep's clothing. I call them the wicked amongst us, that we don't know are there, but are there all the time. So we should always be praying that Abba Yah reveals them to us, so they don't take advantage of us in our times of empathy, sympathy. Chapter 28, verse 7 again, finishing up. And Yahuwah shall cause your enemies that rise up against you to be destroyed before your face. And they shall come out against you in 1 way, and flee before you in 7 ways. And Yahuwah shall command a blessing upon you in your storehouses, and in all that you set your hand unto. And he will bless you in the land which Yahuwah gives you. So if Yahuwah don't offer it, if they're not coming in the name of Yahuwah, brothers and sisters, don't take it. That's blood money. Yahuwah shall establish you a holy people unto himself, as he promised unto you. And he shall, if you keep his commandments. Are the commandments of Yahuwah, and walk them out. Don't just say it, do it. And the people on the earth shall see that you are called by the name of Yahuwah, not Christian, not Muslim, not Buddhist, not Hindu, not Islam. He said people will see that you are called by the name of Yahuwah. And that name is Israel and Judah, because Yah has us separated but yet still together. A distinction without a difference. And that's why we call ourselves who we are, Israelites, or the people of Yahuwah. And they'll be afraid of you. That's why our power lies in our obedience to Yahuwah. That's why 1 will put 1,000 to flight, or 2, 10,000. That's why when the maidens saw David and Saul coming back from war, because yes, we do fight back. We don't turn the other cheek over here. We do go eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, hand for a hand, foot for a foot, eye for an eye, and life for a life. We're commanded to do it. The book of Exodus. You want to see it? For those individuals who say they keep the Torah, come on. You keep Yah's Torah, and you tell us that we are wrong, that when we attack or when we are attacked, not to fight back? Let's see if you're right about it. The book of Exodus in our Torah reads, Exodus 21, verse 23. And if any mischief happens around you, people being clever, stirring up trouble, backbiting, talking behind your back, speaking curses upon you, conflating the truth to get sympathy from you, mischief. This is how he says you deal with them. You deal with them a life for a life, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a hand for a hand, a foot for a foot, a burning for a burning, a wound for a wound, a stripe for a stripe. In other words, they hit, you hit back. So yeah, you do tell them to kick rocks and get lost. Go follow somebody else. Absolutely right. When you realize they're in rebellion against you, that's exactly what you should have told them, and you should tell them. They don't want to follow you, then you should tell them, leave. If they confess or profess to be following you. Asterisk. If they say that you're their covering, if they are saying that you are their covering, and they resist your direction as their covering, then you ought to tell them, go find somebody else to cover you. Easy. Otherwise, you're allowing dissension, confusion, and ultimately, if you don't rid, poison amongst those who believe. Who are part of where you fellowship. Just giving you the word. Deuteronomy 28. Again. Hallelujah. Again, here's Yahuwah saying again. I'm going to read it to you one more time. And I was talking about the maiden. You know your brother, I'm not going to forget. Then remember when David and Saul came back from war? What were the ladies saying? Whoo, wait, them some fine men. Oh yeah, that's what they were saying. I'm not saying that. I'm saying my blushing is the fact that I like to think that I would have been one of those fine men that they were singing about. Not blushing about no damn fine men. That's for the women to do. Not you, brothers. We don't gush over other men. We align ourselves up with our brothers and we put in the work. We let the women do the cheering us on. We just stand together as comrades and support each other and celebrate our victories and protect our brothers. We remember to be our brothers' keepers. Let's continue on here. But then David, what they say, Saul killed his 1,000 and David killed his tens of thousands. That's what Yah is telling us. You know, when he says that your enemies may come in one way, but I'm going to send their asses out 7 ways. They're going to run with their tail right between their legs. They'll think their tail is sticking up. But when Yah finish with them, see, because they think the battle is with you. The battle is with Yahuwah. So they'll have their little arrogant tail sticking up, talking back and disrespecting you, hating on you. But see, when Yah gets finished with them, that tail is going to go just like that. Right between their damn legs. When Yah gets finished with them. I said Yahuwah gets finished with them. When he said, touch not my anointed, do my messengers or my prophets no harm. You know, if they were wise, then they would recognize not to do that. But in their ignorance, because they lack wisdom, they feel like they can attack anybody they want to attack. As they say, 100. Okay. Time will tell who's right and who's wrong. And if you're wrong, you got some very difficult days ahead of you. Verse 8, Deuteronomy 28 and 8. And Yahuwah shall command a blessing upon you and your storehouses and all that you set your hand to do. And he shall bless you in the land which he gives you. And Yahuwah shall establish you a holy people unto himself as he sworn unto you. And he shall, if you shall guard his commandments, or if you keep his commandments, if you obey his commandments. I know we've been there already. It's worth repeating. And walk in his ways. Not be talking about it, but be being about it. Yeah, talk it, but walk it. What the Migos say, walk it like I talk it. Yeah, your brother didn't even know a little bit about them heathens. Well, they're unbelievers, so what am I going to say? 2/3 Israel, but they're not keeping the commandments, so. Because they wouldn't be doing that for a living. Let's go on here. Verse 11. And I said those who were called by the name of Yahuwah. We've already discussed that. We're not Christians. We're not Muslims. I'm talking about if you're followers of Yahuwah, you're none of that. You're an Israelite, Torah keeping believer. Torah keeping believer. Keeping. Again, walk it like you talk it. Verse 11. And Yahuwah shall make you plentiful in goods. And he will make your body healthy and strong. He will also make sure that your cattle, your ground, your land, strong and beneficial. He'll put you in environments where you can be successful. It's what this is saying. Beyond making sure your body is not sick. He promised this to our fathers. So he's going to keep his word to us, brothers and sisters. He told them, if y'all obey, this is going to happen to y'all. Abraham was well off. So was Isaac and so was Jacob. They were not poor men. Some may have started with nothing, but by the time they were finished, they were in pretty good shape for keeping Abba Yah's commandments. They didn't need the world to bless them. They weren't counting on their jobs, their businesses. They were trusting Yahuwah. And they kept Yahuwah's commandments. So they knew that they could call upon Yahuwah and he would answer them because they were obeying his commandments. All of them. They weren't twisting and spinning and deciding which one applied because of the times that we're in. They were like, hell no. If he said it, I'm doing it. If he said it, I agree with it. End the conversation. That's why Yah was able to bless them. And he said, you'll make your enemies afraid of you. And Yahuwah shall make plenty your good, verse 11, and your body will be healthy and strong. Everything you set your hands to do will prosper. David said that in Psalm chapter 1. He said, what? Your leaf shall not wither. And everything that you do, what? Will prosper. Right? Psalm chapter 1. All right, let's go there real fast. I know. See, brother, you would be already done if you would just keep going. But if I keep going, then I'm just a little wicked, little clever devil. Because I could be adding anything, like Jennings and some of them. Why you notice the people sitting in their congregation, notice they're not opening their Bibles. Go look at Dowell on Saturdays. Everybody's sitting there watching him put on his performance, but nobody's got their Bibles open. They're taking his word for it. Mistake. Big mistake, brothers and sisters, when you do that. What it said, blessed is the man that, Psalm chapter 1, blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the wicked. In other words, they're not gossipers, backbiters, conspirators. Nor stands in the way with sinners, or sit in the seat of the scornful. In other words, they don't give listen to them. They don't get on the phone with them. They don't text them back and forth. But their delight is in the delight of the Torah of Yahuwah. And in his Torah will they reflect upon day and night. Again, like David said, evening, morning, and noon. Just like it was in the beginning. See how that ties up? David started, he said, evening, morning, and noon. How did creation say? In the evening and the morning was what? The first day. Precepts. What David believed. So I'm going to believe what David believed. Verse 3. And he said, and he shall be planted like a tree by the rivers of water. See, this is the strength of Israel. That brings forth fruit in his time. Stay the course. This is what it's saying. Don't give up. Don't quit. Don't turn back. Don't be a part of those who turn back. It's what it's reminding us. When he says a tree planted by the rivers of water. Because a tree that stands by the river of water, that's a strong tree. That tree cannot be moved. He said, be a strong tree, brothers and sisters, when it comes down to our Yah's Torah and his truth. And he said, you shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that brings forth fruit in your time. And your leaf also shall not wither. And whatever you do is going to prosper. Now, the last, whatever you're going to do is prosper. That's obvious. But he said, your leaf not wither. It means that in times of trouble, you don't run. You fight. You stand. But the wicked are not so. So just think about everything I said and then think it in opposite, and that you're identifying the wicked. They hang out with the scornful. They stand, amongst the counsel of the wicked. They love to be with the sinners. They love this world. Malcolm talked about them when he called them house slaves. He used the N-word, though. He said with the house slaves, they obeyed their master. They loved their masters more than the masters loved the masters, them own selves. They loved the master, more than they loved themselves. He said when their masters got sick, they would say, we sick? House on fire, they were helping the master put the fire out, even though that's the headquarters of their enslavement. He goes on and on. I don't want to make this about that. But see, that's what happens when your heart is not right. You'll end up aligning yourself inside of cabals, of wicked counsel, wicked covenants. And Yah will blind you to the damnation of what you're doing. He won't even let you see it. You'll think you're doing good. There's a way that seems right. You'll think you're doing Yah's will. You'll think you're helping them. That's a dangerous play to make. Especially when they have aligned themselves up against Yahuwah's commandments and Yahuwah's messengers. That's a dangerous game to play. But many of our brothers and sisters are playing it every day, never understanding that there will be consequences. Not because DFG says so, but because the book says so. It's in the Torah. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Every action has a reaction. You will reap what you're sowing. But I'm not doing anything but listening. You will reap what you're sowing because you're creating an audience for wickedness. When you see that conversation is turning towards Yah or Yah's messenger, that's where you're supposed to end that conversation. Hey, sister, did you tell the brother? If you didn't want to hear, what did he say? Okay, then. That you're covering, by the way? Okay, then. What we talking about here? If you don't want to follow him, you don't want to be your covering, then don't follow him and uncover yourself. But be sure to tell him that because he's probably assuming that he has the authority to say that by your permission. Just here to help. Verse 12. And Yahuwah shall open up unto you good treasure, and the heavens shall give unto you rain unto your land in this season. This is what David was talking about. See, David was a Torah keeper. Although they're telling us you can't keep the Torah, David kept it. Where do you think he was referencing his comments from? Where do you think he got that information from? Where did Solomon get it from? Well, we know Solomon got it from his father. He said that in Proverbs chapter 1, that his mother and father taught him the Torah. But they want to tell us it's done away with, and there's a New Testament that we need to keep, and not the Torah. They're a lie. Y'all can keep it. I'm keeping y'all's Torah. Anybody, if you want to keep it, you keep it. I ain't got nothing for you. You don't have nothing for me. So go ahead on. But look what the word goes on to say. We're still talking the blessings. Your enemies are coming one way. Y'all going to run them out 7 ways. I guess that'll be the title here. I'm assuming. Y'all will give me the word to title it up, I'm sure. How to say it. And Yahuwah will make you the head and not the tail. And you shall be above only, and you shall not be beneath. So how are you struggling, but at the same time profess to be a blessing? That's not self-deception. Because the only place that someone who is suffering and saying they are a blessing, that's Christianity. That's Christian doctrine. And you got a lot of Israelites who profess to be Israelites. They're just Christians by another name. Oh, you may be born, you may be bloodline Israel, but you got Christian written all across your forehead. Yahuwah ain't written across your forehead. Jesus is. But you say it's not. But your behavior says more than what your words are saying. And we were told not only to obey his commandments, but to walk them. Teach them. Put them on the doorpost. Around the house, outside the house. And a part of that is you're supposed to be blessed. We're supposed to be healthy. We're supposed to be the head and not the tail. Lenders, givers, not beggarly, beggars. Verse 13 again. And Yahuwah shall make you the head and not the tail, and you shall be above, and you shall not be under. And if this can happen, if you hearken unto the commandments of Yahuwah, which I command you this day, to guard them and to do them, brothers and sisters. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what we say. We have to obey. We got to do it. If he says this is what it says to do, you have to do it. And it's not up to you to agree or disagree. That's not your decision to make. And call yourself, obedient to Yah. No, it's not a matter of opinion. I know that's what you think. In corporate America, they used to use that term when they didn't want to, when they didn't feel like the direction was the best direction. They would use, little corporate terms like, well, I'm going to agree to disagree. In other words, it was another way of saying, I'm rebelling. So be careful, brothers and sisters, of who you're taking counsel with, who's taking counsel with you, who you're sitting around, what their intentions are, what did their background look like. Did they find you or did you find them? And if they found you, why did they find you? Why did they come? And if they're there for the wrong reason, why won't you let them leave? These are questions you should always be reflecting upon. If you want to get the best of Yahuwah, you have to give him the best of you. And I'm going to leave it right there, brothers and sisters. I think you've gotten enough. But we're in dark times. Again, brothers and sisters, if you think it's bad now, you wait. Our book said the enemy are going to be not only outside, they are going to be among us. Like David said, if it was my enemy, I would have anticipated. If I knew that person hate me, then I wouldn't have been surprised. But he said it wasn't them. He said it was those who said they loved me. They were with me. They were going to be loyal to me. They would stick it out with me. That they would allow me to cover them, or they would cover me. But in the end, they didn't mean what they were saying. What Daniel tells us, in the last days, what? The wise would understand, brothers and sisters. Daniel chapter 12 and 10. But what he said, but the wicked, they would not understand. I've given you information here, brothers and sisters. Go back and research. I've told you, saw and hammer, build on this truth. If you're looking to fellowship with like-minded believers who believe in Abba Yah's Torah, teach from his Tanakh, who don't teach from the New Testament, because we don't need the heathens' lying books, half-true books. You've been invited to join us. Nothing is required. Dial in, put your phone on mute, listen for an hour. If you have questions, email us, and continue on building and growing so that you be safe and you be prosperous. All these blessings manifest for you. And if you know a lot of these things, then fellowship with others just so you can feel their energy and they can feel yours. Like-minded believers. We're not vagabonds. We're not freelancers. We're not supposed to be running out there by ourselves. And at times of trouble, you're going to need one. One to put 1,000, but 2, 10,000. You're going to need an army with you. You're not going to fight this wickedness off by ourselves, brothers and sisters. Especially you, my dear brothers. I know a lot of you well, I don't follow no man. We'll follow Yahuwah and follow men who follow Yahuwah. David was a man of Yahuwah. Many men followed David. And there were some badass dudes. They were not cowards. But they knew the strength of Yahweh was with David. And they were going to cling on to David because they know whatever David got, they were going to get too. Elijah with Elijah. Told him, hey, when you go, I want a double portion. What did Elijah say? Well, you better follow me. You better not take your eyes off me. That said, again, brothers and sisters, thank you for your time. Praise Yah for you. For those of you who are frenemies, it's okay. You can leave. But those of you who are loyal and who are here to stay, may Yah bless you, protect you, put a Ruach, a spirit around you. May he give you grace, may he give you peace, and may all of these blessings manifest in your life. DFG, Yahuwah, Shalom.